What it do, YouTube? Is your boy Rob Varela, aka Riskitrobz, here, back again with another video. And today we're gonna be reviewing season 8, episode 3 of Game of Thrones. And if you guys have not seen this episode, please get out of here. Watch it, come back, because I'm gonna be talking about spoilers in this review. And if you guys have not seen this, like I said, go watch it and then come back and let's talk about it. So let's just go straight into it. So this episode starts very interesting because it's like, I think it goes from like 5 to 10 minutes of no dialogue, and it's more about all the soldiers like getting ready for this battle. And you see, first you see Sam and he's like shaking, he's nervous, which who wouldn't be? And then it follows like Tyrion going through the whole castle, the whole entire Winterfell. You know, it's time for him to like pack up and go to the crypt. And I really enjoyed those scenes, because it sets up and it establishes this is going to be intense, it's going to be dark, it's going to be grimy, it's going to be grim, it's going to be dark. And you have this weight on your shoulders. I don't know, for me, honestly, when I was watching this from the start, as soon as like you see Sam, he's shaking, he's nervous, which the actor playing his role does such a good job acting in fear, and you feel for him, and it's like he's just a guy that likes to read books, and yet he's out here trying to fight. And that's what pretty much some of these fighters are, or these warriors are. They're just normal day people, like women, old people. They're all in this battle because it doesn't matter if you know how to fight. It's more about defending your home. I got my notes here so I don't lose my train of thought. I'm not gonna go in a real in-depth in this video. If you guys do want me to go more in-depth about the episode, like really go deep into it and make a pretty much long video about it, let me know in the comments below if you guys would enjoy that. But like I said, first then it shows all the lineup, and it's like the Dothraki are the in front of this whole, and they're taking the lead, and Ser Jorah is the one taking the lead with the Dothraki. And it was pretty cool because I know where you're like, oh, it's about to start. You hear someone pull up, and it's Melisandre, which her whole entire arc from all these seasons has been like, oh, the Lord of Light, I'm doing this for the Lord of Light, I have a purpose. And she, in the last season, when Soldova started like run away, stuff like not run away, to leave and never come back, because after all she's done, I don't like her as a character. I think she did some real messed up things, especially with the whole part with lighting that girl on fire and stuff like that. But like, she always said that she has a purpose and she's gonna be back here for a reason. And we later on through the episode, we get to see what her purpose was. And the first thing we do see her do is like, she comes up and she like tells Jorah to tell the Dothraki to rise up their like swords, and then she touches one of the swords and like she does her prayer and like the spell, and then now all the Dothraki have like swords with a fire on it. And that's when we start. They charge up. They're pretty much running into the darkness because they can't see shit. I can't see shit. And I thought, all right, let me start. This is one of my nitpicks of this episode, that I think it was intended to. I don't think it was like someone in post-production like kind of messed it up with the color grading or anything like that. I feel like the writers wanted us to feel what they felt. I couldn't see shit most of the time. Sometimes I didn't know who was dying or what was going on until like the second and like the third time. I watched it 3 times already. I got to see it like more, but like I really didn't. Like sometimes I'll be like, I can't see shit, and I thought it was just me because I'm blind. I got contacts on and I wear glasses also, so it's like I'm already blind. So I thought it was just me, but when I go on Twitter, it looks like everybody had that same problem. But enough of that. That's pretty much my only nitpick of this whole entire episode. Everything else to me was phenomenal. So like I said, the Dothraki are pushing up, and then you get to see Ghost. We finally get to see Ghost. We saw him for a split second in the first episode, I believe, and then we get to see him now charging with Jorah and the Dothraki. And next thing you know, like I said, they had those swords with the fire on, so it was a real cool shot, which I do appreciate a lot that they do in this episode. The cinematography is insane. Some of the angles they use, like some of these Dutch angles they use from like overhead of the battle, was so sick and so rad. So you have Dany and Jon Snow on like this mountain with the dragons, because you know that's part of the plan. And you get to see them, and you just see the fires just rush, and then you just see them like stop moving and like being pushed back. And then Jaime, Brienne, Tormund, everybody else that didn't charge is just seeing all these like swords fizzle out, and I'm just like, yikes! And everybody's like tripping out because apparently, remember, even Jaime says to Cersei, the Dothraki are like not even warriors. These people do this for fun. battle is for fun for them. For everybody else is more defending and conquering. For them it's just a sport pretty much. So we know that Dothraki are elite and they know how to fight, and to see them get wiped out so quick, I was just like, that's tough. Like these people, everybody when as soon as, like I said, the fire fizzles out from everybody's like, fuck. We get to the point now that the White Walkers are bum rushing everybody. They bum rush them, and then it's just chaos, pure chaos. And this is the first person of the main characters or the side characters you want to know dies. And to me, that Ed dies saving Sam. Sam's in the floor. We think that man died like 1,000 times in this episode. First of all, let's just throw that out there. There were so many parts where you like, how did he get through all that? Like, how did he survive that? Like, there's no way anybody should have. Sam is like down, and then Ed comes and helps him, which, quick tip in those movies, every single time a soldier has to help another person out, or someone helps another person out, that person's pretty much dying, and that's what happens. So he gets Sam up, and then he just gets stabbed in the back, and we lose Ed from the rip, and that sucks. I think Ed is so badass, and yet they just took my dog out just like that. Then we get Jon Snow and Daenerys flying over the battlefield, lighting stuff on fire. But then this is what the cool part of like the writers did, in my opinion, is that they kind of nerfed that situation, because it's like 2 dragons, so easily they could just like, back and forth, like destroy everything. The way they nerf the power of the dragons, I guess, is that the Night King comes through with like this big snowstorm. So this whole entire time, Daenerys and Jon Snow are fighting and like just like trying to catch up to the Night King, or like they're trying to move around, but they can't because it's so like dense and they can't see through anything. There's a point where they crash into each other. That whole scene with the dragons was so sick. I thought it was done very well. There's some parts where I was like, yikes, that's not finished yet. But overall, that whole thing was so sick, just to see these dragons fighting not each other, but like fighting, I guess, each other, because I think it's Viserys. I can't tell. I'm a fan of the show. I haven't read other books. Just let me throw that out there before I get attacked for all that, for not knowing all the names and stuff like that. So like there's a point where they like bump into each other, and then the Night King comes through, and that whole scene was so sick. So like I said, they're fighting with the dragons, and they can't see anything, and there's this a point where Grey Worm's like, yo, light up the trench. So they have this plan where they're always gonna wave the signal to let them know, to let Daenerys and Jon Snow know to light the trench up with the dragons. But since they're in that snowstorm, they can't see anything. So they're trying to like light up with arrows, but it keeps fizzling out because it's too cold. And this is where Melisandre comes in again with her Lord of the Light powers, or like the Lord of the Light prayers, and she lights the trench up, and she pretty much saves them at that point for a bit. And that part I really did enjoy, because that gave the soldiers and us, the audience, time to breathe for a little bit. Like, okay, we got this. Let's chill out for a moment. Give these characters like quick 5 minutes to like, all right, we stood our ground the best we could, so now let's recover and it's time. But obviously the Night King is not done, so he tells some of these the White Walkers to like lie on top of each other on the fire, and then they bum rush the castle. And this is probably one of my favorite scenes, period. It's not the biggest scene, it's not the most impactful scene to most of these people, but Lady Mormont, I'm sorry if I butchered her name, but she's one of my Lyanna was one of my favorite characters, because it goes to show that from the previous season, she is a child, but yes, she has such a heart of a warrior, and she is so brave. And the fact that she stood up to the giant, and the giant like slaps her out of the way and like, be gone, peasant, like pushes her to the way, and then it cuts back to her like getting up with an axe in her hand, rushing the giant, which I love that scene so much, because it goes to show no matter what age you are, you always gonna have like courage is always gonna be within. It doesn't matter what age, how old, girl, boy. Courage and bravery always comes from inside, and that's why I really like her and her arc and throughout the shows, because like I said, she is just a child, but yes, she's like, in the last episode, she's like, I'm not gonna go down there to the crypt, I'm trying to go fight with my men. And she's like that, like that's why when her death was so, that impacted me the most, because like, so the giant, and it's very gruesome too. They did not hold back in this episode. So the giant picks up Liana, and you could just hear her cry. You could hear her like ribs crack and break, and she has this moment where she takes out the little dagger from her side and just stabs the giant in the eye and takes down the giant, which is cool to see that the smallest person took out one of the biggest White Walkers there is, and she took it down. And I thought that scene was so sick, and it is my favorite part of the whole entire episode. I know people like the whole Arya, Jon Snow, and the Night Kings. That for me, that was really cool to see. But I do like the part that they showed this little girl's bravery through in combat, and I thought that was so sick. So while all this is going down, this is a moment where it cuts to Bran and Theon, and Theon, he like said, I'll take care of you and I'll be there for like the whole plan of the whole bait. And Theon has this great moment, and Bran does it too, where like Theon tries to apologize again, because obviously we see what he did to the Starks in the previous season, which was like no one really liked Theon after that anymore. And then the whole Reek thing, but we start getting a little bit more remorse with the whole Reek thing situation, because like, damn, everybody, people make mistakes, but this guy's really getting tortured. So I really like that he keeps trying to redeem himself, and he does multiple times. Like he helps Sansa escape, he saves his sister, and then Bran knows this, and he tells Bran like, you're a good man. Or I think that was later on, because later on he says that, but earlier he has said like, everything you did led you to here, home. And I thought that was really cool for Bran to tell Theon, because Theon this whole entire time in these last couple of seasons is trying to prove to himself that and like get redemption. So he gets that clarification from Bran, and it's like, you could die, like water under the bridge. What I also enjoyed from this episode as well is that it has like a lot of horror elements, like the whole scene with Arya in the library. Like, what? That was pure horror at like its purest form, and I enjoyed it so much, because especially for me, like I'm a horror lover, I really enjoyed that part, and that part was so sick. And she's trying to like out escape the White Walkers, because she doesn't know how much is there, and we seen her like kick ass early in the episode. We finally get to see her kick ass with the weapon that she told Gendry to make. We see her kicking ass, but it gets to the point where she's in the library and there's too many, and she's by herself, so she's gonna have this weird like Batman, like it reminded me of that Batman or Splinter Cell or Metal Gear Solid, where you have to like sneak around the enemy, and the objective is to like sneak around, not go attack. And then that whole scene was sick. It was such a horror, it was so horror-ish that I enjoyed it so well. So she finally escapes that room, and then that's when she meets up with the Hound and Beric. And then this is the part where Beric dies, which is tough, because I like Beric. He's really cool. And then the Lord of Light, and he always lights his fire up. And that's another purpose of him. Melisandre says it. He says all the time, the Lord of Light brings me back, because he's died and been brought back to life multiple times. So Melisandre and him always are saying like he has a reason to live, and the Lord of Light wants him alive for a reason. And this is exactly what his reason is to sacrifice himself while the Hound and Arya make their escape from like all these like White Walkers rushing them. And it was a cool scene where he's like, there's hallway, and he's holding himself like from like the passageways, that way they don't pass, and he's getting stabbed in the back and the chest, and it was so sick. And they finally get into this room, and Beric dies, which was tough. But Melisandre out of nowhere, which I don't know which powers, I guess, she pulls up, and her and Arya have this like cool moment where like Arya's like, I don't know, and she's like, she talks about the green eyes, and then she tells the blue eyes, pretty much telling her what she has to do. And Arya like, it's like, I got it. And then there's this cool moment. She's like, what did we tell Death today? He's like, what did we tell Death? I think that's how that went. She goes, not today. So that was a cool callback to the earlier season. So she runs and goes somewhere. At that moment, we don't know where the frick she went. Obviously, we know now, after I saw it, she went and go and kill the Night King. Which, to me, I'm going to skip around. Like I said, this is not going to be in an in-depth video. So there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to leave out, just in case you guys want me to go in-depth. So I'm just talking about the key moments and the moments that I really like enjoyed. So like I'm jumping, so I'm going straight to the end for this part, just so I could talk about Arya's moment. She's the one that kills the Night King. I don't know, just this moment where Brandon and the Night King are staring at each other, and you're just like, what's going on? For a moment I thought he was actually gonna bow down to Bran, but he didn't. He's about to take the sword. When you see him about to take the sword, I don't know, or you just see Arya come from the she did the whole and she like, then he turns around super quick and he catches her, and she does that thing where she was training with Brienne, where she drops the knife and she like stabs the Night King and gets rid of everybody at that moment, which I thought was cool. I like the fact that she's the one that killed the Night King. I always thought that she would be one of the people to go kill Cersei, but like I felt like if they gave her this moment, they're not gonna give her another big moment. So pretty sure it's gonna be left to like Jaime or like Sansa or Tyrion to kill Cersei or something like that. But I am glad that it wasn't Jon Snow to kill the Night King, because Jon Snow does everything. So I kind of am glad that it wasn't somebody else. This is moment for like a split second. Don't judge me for a split second. This is part with Theon's arc ends when the Night King kills him, and I really like this part because this is part right before that. Bran turns to Theon and he goes, "You're a good." I have it write it down. "You're a good man. Thank you." And that was pretty much Theon like, "All right, I got this." And he rushes the Night King with the spear, and in my head it's like, why would you do that? There's no way you're gonna win that. Like, just throw that motherfucker over there and see if you hit him, but like, don't rush him. So he rushes him and he stabs him in the stomach, and that's the end of Theon, which I'm okay with. I do really like Theon, and I thought his ending and his character progression throughout the whole show was very neat, and it was really cool to see how it ended. Same thing with Jaime. His character arc is actually really one of my favorite ones too. But let's go back a little back to the point where Daenerys is gonna help Jon Snow, because he falls off the dragon and he's about to get bum rushed because he's about to go fight the Night King. But then the Night King like rises up the dead, so he cheated. He didn't want to shoot that 101 fade, so he cheated and brought all the people back to life. And that's when the people on the bottom and the people in the crypts are being back to life. And then that's when the moment where Tyrion and Sansa have a real cute moment there, which I don't know if it's love or is it respect. I don't know what that was in that moment, but it was a really nice moment from the two. So when the Night King raises up of the dead, Jon Snow's about to get swarmed with him. Daenerys comes and helps him out, but she stays still with the dragons, and you just see all these White Walkers climb on top of the dragon, stabbing it everywhere. In my head, I was like, when I was watching, I was like, fly away, what are you doing? Get out of here. Why is she standing still with the dragon? Move, lady, move. Look like me in traffic. Move, lady, move. Like, she did not want to move. Well, she obviously didn't see that coming, which it's kind of obvious that was going to happen. Like, why would you stay there for so long? She falls off the dragon and we think she's done for, but then Jorah comes out here and just starts protecting her, which his arc finally ends as well. He's another person that dies in this episode. He dies the way he wanted to die, and was to protect Daenerys, to protect his Khaleesi. This is what he was set out to do, and it was a cool moment that they both had. She has a sword, he has a sword, he's being stabbed multiple times, and he still has the bravery of getting up even after being stabbed multiple times. He gets up and still tries to defend Daenerys, and ultimately cost him his life. But his life was to go and protect Daenerys. He was gonna do it at all costs, even though she friend zoned him. Let's be honest, she straight up friend zoned this guy. Tough. I guess some people don't make it out of the friend zone. So he dies there, and another part too that I do really enjoy was, or not a part, but the score was so beautiful in this episode from beginning to end, especially towards the endish where the pianos hit and Jon Snow's trying to outrun the dragon, but he can't. He stands up and he's like, if I'm gonna die at this point, let me just go out. Just take me out, dragon. The score was beautiful from beginning to end. The writing, the battle sequence, besides the whole darkness, I couldn't see anything. The whole episode overall was great. There's not really much to complain about besides I can't see anything most of the time until like I had to watch it multiple times. The writing, the directing was awesome. It was everything from being like set up from the first episode when we see the White Walkers, and then we actually get the battle of the White Walkers. I was satisfied from this episode and the Battle of Winterfell. I think it was done very well. The score, the cinematography, the acting, everybody had to bring their A game throughout this whole entire episode, and I feel like they all did. So honestly, this might be my favorite episode. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm glad that they did it mid-season and not the end, because I do think that the whole importance of Game of Thrones is not the White Walkers, it's more about the politics of the throne. And I'm glad that you're going to save that later on. But like I said, I enjoyed this episode very much. So much questions also. So much questions that I got to find out. But if you guys enjoyed this review, let me know down in the description. I mean, not the description. Let me know in the comments below. And then also let me know if you guys want me to go in a whole in-depth video about this episode where I go from beginning to end, because this video was more about me jumping around, telling my reaction to it, my favorite parts. So that was this more of this video was about. But if you guys do want me to go in depth, I'll really work it out and we'll really go into, maybe I'll have Ransom like I just did the Avengers sporty review with him. Make sure you go watch that. Or I may bring my cousin, Dave, that he enjoys Game of Thrones as much as I do. Maybe I'll bring him on to talk about it. But if you guys do want that, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, that notification button, so you know when my videos go live. Make sure you guys follow me on all my social medias at Riskitrobz. Also, make sure you guys follow me at my Stardust app. And Stardust is an app where I do 30-second reactions to TV shows, movies, and stuff like that. So make sure you guys follow me over there. And if you guys want to see me toast some fools on Twitch, go follow me there at Riskitrobz. And I'll see you guys in the next video.